Hi there, I'm Haruka. That's how I start every video. How can you expect any different from me? That's just what I do now. It's about 7 p.m. and the sun is still technically up, so that can only mean that we're out of the winter. Unless you live in Chicago, where weather works on a different schedule. Anyway, it's the spring anime season, and I don't know how to take this one. It's both stacked and sparse at the same time, but we'll see how it goes. We've got the usual categories, because I don't want to add any extra things. Shows other people like and I probably won't watch. Shows I might watch because it looks cool. Shows I knew nothing about beforehand but am now very interested in. And dumb shit I will watch because I'm that guy, and also, you know, the shows I'm actually really interested in and I'm suggesting to you, the audience, to watch. Alright, let's get it. Shows other people like. The sequels. Demon Slayer's Swordsmith Village arc. I don't think I've actually said this before, but I'm just not a fan of Demon Slayer. Like, Nezuko is cute, but I just don't find the story that compelling. And animation alone isn't what's going to get me into that show, so, you know. Dr. Stone Season 3. I've still never seen this and know next to nothing about it, but I'm sure people watching will want to know about it, so I mentioned it. There, happy? Tokyo Mew Mew New 2, so much alliteration. At least I think that's a possible definition of alliteration. Look, this one's just for like the shoujo lads out there. Have fun. The Marginal Service. The PV for this show is a bunch of naked buff dudes plus what appears to be a raccoon. The thing is, this is made by the same director who made Strawberry Panic, one of the strangest yuri in the history of the genre, and is written by a guy who has done a lot of weird isekai. I'm not on board, but I feel like if that PV image moved you, you should jump in. It's an anime original and they seem to be very tight-lipped about everything right now, so like I don't even know what the plot is to explain to you. Kanojo ga Koshaku te ni ita Ryu. This is an isekai that is actually a manhwa adaptation. So instead of being set in Japan for a couple minutes before suddenly shifting to a European-style aristocratic universe, it's set in Korea for a few minutes before doing the exact same thing. It isn't exactly a classic shoujo, and I might be interested in it if they pull off some things that I wouldn't expect, but it sounds like a classic thing of strong girl placed in a misogynistic world and must now use her personality to force her way out of a bad situation. It's not an inherently bad premise, and it was a bit of a margin call to place it here instead of elsewhere, but I just don't feel like making my own bet on it right now. My Home Hero. So when I first set up the outline for this video, I thought that this might be a good dark horse show for the season. It's about a salaryman who's taking on the Yakuza and seemed like it'd involve a bit of action, but there's something about the art style that bothers me and makes me think it might end up as just another show that lost its potential. This is solely on vibes, and I do like Tezuka Productions, but something's just not sitting right, especially with this being a rookie effort for the director. Mashla. I think that's how you pronounce it anyway. This is the new big shonen powerhouse. It's A1 picture, straight out of the pages of Shonen Jump, an adaptation that people have been clamoring for. It's gonna be big no matter what. Basically, it's a world based on magic eugenics, and anyone without magic is executed, but this guy has no magic, so he decides to become the most powerful person in the world through simply being able to punch things harder than everyone else. Which, honestly, you know, vibes. Like, that's the character I create every single time I play in like an RPG setting. Again, it's shonen battle stuff, not my thing, but check it out if that's your thing. Jigo Kuraku. Pretty much the same intro as Mashla, except instead of Jump, it's Jump Plus, and instead of A1, it's Mappa. This ninja goes on a suicide mission to get out of being executed. There's some other stuff, but that's the basics. It's Shonen Jump, it's like the Disney of anime. You know there's gonna be polish on it by the time it gets an adaptation. Shows I'll probably pay attention to. Sequels! The Ancient Magus's Bride, Season 2. I've always heard really good things about the first season. I've gotta get around to it at some point. Mobile Suit Gundam Witch from Mercury, Season 2. Again, I really need to get around to the first season at some point. Tonikaku Kawaii Season 2. I actually did see the first season of this one. Honestly, it was a little disappointing from what I thought it'd be. It was cute, but it was cute in a fairly bland way. As I said, I might watch it, but like, whatever. Boku no Kokoro no Yabai Yatsu. I've heard a lot about this manga and I really wanted to read it. Basically, it's every true crime podcast girl's wet dream because it's some kid who really wants to be a serial killer but hasn't actually killed yet. His first and really only target is the cutest girl in class, and a relationship forms as he attempts to case her out. This is an interesting premise, and while I'm not sure a manga can continue for very long, it's enough tension that it can last a whole anime season. So that's, you know, that works for me. Kawaii Sugi Crisis. So an alien comes to Earth with plans to destroy it, but then they discover that cats are really cute, so, you know, they can stay. They actually live in a cat cafe now. I'm pretty sure this is just gonna be a really nice, comfy show about cute animals and good food and all of those things that make life worth living. You sick freaks and your simple pleasures. Rokudo no Onatachi. So I have some pretty high hopes for this anime, mostly because it includes one of my favorite archetypes, the delinquent girl. Buddy is stuck in a school full of delinquents and is bullied because he's the only guy who wouldn't immediately agree to smoke some squares out behind the baseball field. But one day, he essentially gets a sigil burned into his forehead that makes him irresistible to delinquent girls. This just sounds like a good time, but I am a bit concerned about the art design. There's something weird about the way the lines around the eyes are drawn that throws me off. The studio isn't known for being good at rom-coms, and it's another rookie director, but believe me, I really want this thing to work out. Shows I know nothing about, but kinda wanna watch. Yamada-kun to level 999. Wait, it'd be QQQ? It's Q, right? Yeah, it's Q. Yamada-kun to level QQQ. Madhouse is making a straight-up shoujo romance. How? Gamer girl is single after her gamer boyfriend cheats on her, so she just gets her character incredibly OP in the game. Then she discovers another incredibly OP gamer boy, and it's just a story between the two of them because the new gamer boy isn't used to girls. It's a shoujo rom-com. We're just having fun out here, man. Kimi wa Hokago Insomnia. Adapted from a highly rated manga, this is a story about two high school students who can't sleep, just hanging out in an observatory. This feels adorable, and I think it's gonna be really big. The problem is that it's Leiden Films again, which is the scariest studio I've ever seen. On the one hand, there's Yofukashi no Uta and Tokyo Revengers. On the other, there's Sayonara Watashi no Kramer and Berserk 2016. God help anyone who gets a manga adapted by these guys. Skip to Loafer. From what I can tell, this anime comes from a manga that is essentially the intersection between josei and seinen. So I guess that's just shoujo. Huh. It's another rom-com, this time between a country girl and a city boy. It's PA work, so you know it's gonna be handled well. I'd buy the stock in this. I might not watch it, but I would buy stock in it. Yusha Gashinda. I was torn between this show and another as for which one goes into the next category, but I think that this is the one that has genuine potential to go on and do something. Or not, I see Leiden Films again. Basically, the whole premise of this show is that the legendary hero of this fantasy world dies on accident, and now the rest of the hero's party has to deal with the random farmer that killed the hero on accident as they go after the Demon King. The reviews of this manga are absolutely glowing, saying that the plot grows and grows from a simple horny gag manga to one that has a much deeper story. And you know I love some transcendent trash around here. And now for my favorite category, dumb shit I will watch because I'm that guy. Sequels! Kuma 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 Bear Punch. I just want to remind everyone that the hero of this story is a nepo baby that made even more money by gaming the stock market before getting stuck in this isekai world. A world where she's essentially bribed officials to gain power. But also it's still incredibly cute. Like, it's a Marxist nightmare, but cute anime girl. Isekai Smartphone 2. I'm not even mentioning this because I want to watch it. I just feel like I have to say something because I watched the entire first season over the course of a week because I wanted to know how this could possibly be a compelling story, and it got a sequel without being a compelling story. A dude gets killed on accident, so God lets him have his phone in an isekai world. Like, how are you milking a second season out of this? There's also a lot of things that make me really uncomfortable about this show, but it's anime, so I just continue despite the pain. Isekai Shokan wa Nidome desu. So I just find the very concept of this show hilarious. A guy got isekai'd, saves the isekai world, gets isekai'd back to Japan where he had to start over from birth, and then in high school he's isekai'd back into the original isekai'd world. I am so confused and I just want to know what all that means. Megami no Cafe Terrace. Bro, it's a harem. A guy has left a maid cafe in his grandmother's will and is now surrounded by a bunch of girls. It's a harem. It has the ecchi tag. If there's one thing I'm gonna trust modern Tezuka productions with, it's cute girls. They did the first season of Quince and Kanojo mo Kanojo. I trust them. Isekai One Turn Kill Nei-san, Ane Dohan no Isekai Seikatsu Hajimemashita. Y'all remember Milfsekai? Well, this is Neisekai. Some people have daddy issues, some have mommy issues, I have older sister issues, and this fuels my delusions. Look, I think people are sleeping on this show and how weird it's gonna be. This is a brand new studio, literally their first ever show. It's another rookie director, and checking up on the original mangaka's previous work, they are well versed in stories like this. I'm watching this every week. I do not care what anyone tells me. Kaminaki Sekai no Kamisama Katsudo. So this one is so weird that I just want to know what's going on in it. Basically, a dude gets sacrificed by his cult leader parents and is isekai'd into a world without religion, and then gets saved from execution by the god his parents sacrificed him to originally, and essentially he just becomes like those people that stand outside of train stations trying to sell you a Bible class. But that's not the weird bit. The weird thing is the one line in the description that did not escape my sight that said, "Porn books are akin to a child's doodles." What? I'm sorry, I need to know. I'm hoping this ends up like Harem Slave Dungeon, where it goes 15 different directions at once and you still don't know what's going on at the end of it. And now, shows I'm actually very interested in and I'm suggesting to you, the audience. The sequels. Konosuba Megumin Story. I know there's an actual name, but that's basically what this is. Literally any new Konosuba is a good thing, and I've done some previous digging into Konosuba lore and remember hearing about the premise of these books. It basically gives an origin to Megumin and why she's so devoted to explosion magic. It's being animated by Drive, a fairly new studio, but they've already gained a solid record with their work on the second season of To Your Eternity, so yeah, you know, everybody should be hyped about this. Birdie Wing 2. Birdie Wing made it into my top 10 anime of 2022, so you know I'm all on board for this season. My original excitement for this show was the idea that it would be a mature take on sports anime using golf, but instead it's the most batshit anime, and I love them for it. Also, I want to see Ava and Aoi just get even closer. They already kiss, but it should happen again just to make sure, you know? Like, sometimes studios don't want to have the girls kiss twice, so let's see it. Oshi no Ko. I've heard a lot of really good things about this manga, and an anime is the perfect way for me to finally get a look at it without having to actually read. I don't know how much of the story I should actually spoil to an average person, but it involves reincarnation and the horrors of idol culture. Yeah, I haven't read it, but from everything I've heard about this manga, you need to watch this show. The first episode is apparently getting listed at 90 minutes, so you know it's got that much pull to change episode lengths. Watashi no Yuri wa Oshigoto desu. This is honestly more for me and maybe should be in the dumb shit category, but I think that everyone should be betting on Yuri this season. It's the classic Family Guy formula where one person injures another person and now has to work at their job. Except it's two cute girls who now both work at a cafe that is based around an all-girl school theme, which is code for, you know. So it's got Studio Passione involved, which just screams quality, alongside Studio Lings, whose only other credit is this past season's Tachibana-kan Triangle. Look, maybe it's trash. Maybe it's just a really fun Yuri rom-com. At the end of the day, I will love it. Otonari ni Ginga. Finally, this is my Hail Mary pick for this season. It's a story about a mangaka who's taking care of his much younger siblings after his dad dies, meeting a new assistant who immediately decides to marry him. It's a bit more complicated than that based on the reviews, but like, you know, I'm trying to fit this in here. Look, it seems like this is another one of those stories where two characters are stuck in a tough situation and they're just trying to find the best way to work through it, and you can't ask for anything better. And that's gonna be it for us here. I mean, this honestly feels a whole lot shorter than it probably should be, but maybe that's because I didn't have to do that many takes this time. That's all the anime I felt like talking about this season, and now it's time for me to actually watch some of them. Maybe. I don't know. I'm probably just gonna watch Naisekai. Like, comment, and subscribe to be entered in for a chance to win a set of Anime Girl golf clubs. Unfortunately, they are not regulation, and they're also not physically real. You need to be an anime girl in order to use them, so like, you know, if you want to let me keep them, sure, but, you know, anyway, thank you.
You came to take us, all things go.